After cooking my meaty, fat, big, crispy, and crunchy fried chicken, I can't wait to taste it and eat it. It is best partnered with tomato ketchup. Mmm, so delicious. This is not just your ordinary fried chicken. This is a very special fried chicken which uses the drumstick part of the chicken. Why is it meaty, fat, and big? Let's now make this recipe for you to find out why it became so huge and so big. So to begin with, on a large pot with hot boiling water, let's now add 3/4 kilo of potato that we have peeled and cut it into two so that it will cook faster. So we will now cover and wait for it to cook. Now that it is boiling, we now add 1 piece of chicken cube. We're adding chicken cube to this so that the potatoes have flavor later on. Okay, so after a few minutes, let's now test the potatoes if it is cooked by using a fork. So if it goes off easily, then you know it is ready to set aside. You can use a spoon strainer like this one or an ordinary strainer or colander to drain our potatoes. So next, I have a gadget like this called a potato masher, which easily does the part of mashing our potatoes. But if you don't have this gadget, then you can use fork to mash our potatoes. Okay, so this is how our potatoes look like after mashing it. Meanwhile, on the same pot where we boiled our potatoes, as you remember, we have chicken cube in it, so it's already flavorful. We now add the following: 1 teaspoon of peppercorns, then 3 cloves of garlic. You don't have to chop the garlic, okay? And then just a teaspoon or a tablespoon of salt. Okay, so while it is boiling with all these ingredients, we now add our star ingredient, 7 pieces of chicken drumstick. Okay, so make sure it is fresh. And then you put this all together in the pan and let it boil for 25 to 30 minutes until it is cooked. Okay, so we cover this and we'll be right back. While we wait for our chicken to be cooked, let's now caramelize some onions. So I put here around 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil or any cooking oil. So we now add 1 white onion that we dice as small as possible would be good. And then we will caramelize this, meaning we will saute this for about more than 5 minutes in low fire. Okay, so after a few minutes, this is how it looks like. Then you add some garlic salt or just a little garlic powder, around 1 teaspoon. And a teaspoon of ground pepper. Next, we add 2 tablespoons of butter. So we will melt this butter and let the onions cook further with the salt and pepper. Okay, so after a few minutes of cooking our onions, this is how it looks like, and we'll set this aside. Okay, on a large pan like this one, I heat the mashed potato. So we'll put the mashed potato in a low fire and we want to heat these potatoes. We will do this so that the ingredients that we will put in here will be more flavorful as it absorbs the pores of the potatoes. So first, we will add the caramelized onions that we did a while ago. So these onions will season our mashed potatoes, making it more flavorful. After mixing the caramelized onion, we now add 1 tablespoon of salt and then a half teaspoon of paprika. Then 1/3 cup of grated cheese. Okay, so for our next ingredient, we now add 1/8 cup of milk to add a little creaminess to our mashed potato. Then we just combine and mix them all together very well on a low heat. Okay, so after mixing it well, we are now ready to taste our mashed potato. So they are so delicious and so flavorful in itself. Okay, so after tasting it and it's good to go, we now add 3 tablespoons of flour as our binder. So we now mix and combine everything else with the flour. Okay, meanwhile, our chicken is already cooked after 25 to 30 minutes. So we are now ready to peel them and remove the meat or the flesh of the chicken. So there are 2 ways of doing this. You can chop this very finely if you want to. But what I did later is to just shred them. Okay, so we will take off the meat one by one on the 7 pieces of drumstick. And this bone, we will have to set this aside. Okay, so this is how it looks like. The bones of the drumstick, we have set this aside. And this is the chicken that I have shredded into small pieces. You can cut them off with a knife or chop them if you like. So this is our flavorful mashed potato and we're now adding the chicken that we have shredded a while ago. We will combine and mix them all together. You can use a plastic to cover your hands like I'm using right now. Okay, so you just have to mix and combine them all together. Okay, so this is now our mashed potato with the chicken and we're going to stuff our drumstick bone with this mashed potato mixture. Okay, so after a few minutes, so this is how it looks like. Okay, so it is very cute. It's like a chicken, a big lollipop. Okay, so that's how it looks. Our next step is dredging our drumstick with flour. So that is our first coating. We will roll this out on a flour and pat off the excess. Then, after dredging it with flour, we now beat, these are 2 eggs beaten. Okay. So, we will now carefully coat each of the drumstick with the flour with the eggs. Okay, so carefully, we now roll this out on our egg wash. Okay. So we'll just roll it out like this. And then on another plate, as you can see on the right side, that is our breadcrumbs. Okay, so after rolling it on the egg mixture, we will put this on the panko breadcrumbs. Make sure that you cover the drumstick very well with the breadcrumbs, as this will make our chicken very, very crispy. Okay, our drumsticks are now ready to fry. Okay, so a while ago I have heated around 2 cups of cooking oil. This is just vegetable oil. And we're now going to deep fry our chicken. Okay, so make sure that the temperature is not that high so that the breadcrumbs will not burn out easily. Okay, so we'll just brown this on all sides and make sure that they are cooked very, very well. Okay, so as you can see, we have browned this very well on all sides. It looks so crispy and so crunchy. And after a few minutes, this is how our chicken drumsticks looks like. Okay, so I'm so very happy with the results of my chicken drumsticks. And now this is how you plate them. Okay, and don't forget to pair this off with your favorite tomato ketchup. It's the perfect dipping for our chicken drumsticks. So I hope you enjoy this episode, and I can't wait for you to try them at your homes.